Have you heard of external rotation in the shoulder joint? I know, Christina. What the heck is that? Yes, I'm an anatomy geek. I love to talk about anatomy, but I can break this down in simple terms to teach you how to support yourself in your plank and your downward dog whenever you're weight bearing on your hands to help stabilize the shoulder joint. My name is Christina Raskin. I'm the founder of Soul Thrive Yoga, and here we are so passionate about yoga and education, all aspects of yoga, the mindfulness, the meditation, the philosophy, the poses, and yes, the anatomy. External rotation is a movement that the shoulder joint does. I'd love for you to do this with me. Bend both of your elbows to about 90 degrees, and then bring your fingertips towards each other, your elbows wide, and then bring your elbows in, your fingertips out. Fingertips together, elbows wide, elbows in, fingertips out. And just look at this in your body. And can you tell me which joint is moving here? Where is this movement coming from? Is it coming from the elbow joint? The elbow joint look like it's moving? That would look like this. Is it coming from the wrist joint? Does the wrist look like it's moving? No, it's coming from the shoulder joint. When we spin the upper arm in, that's what we call internal rotation. When we spin the upper arm out, that's what we call external rotation. Spinning inwards towards the midline of your body, internal rotation, outwards, outward rotation or external rotation. And when we're weight bearing, like a plank pose or a downward facing dog, we want to do the action of external rotation. We want to spin the bicep out. Maybe you've heard a teacher say that, maybe in your downward dog. Spin your bicep towards your fingertips. You might have heard something like that. They're trying to cue this external rotation. If you've tried this with your elbows bent, I hope you did, notice what that feels like in your shoulder joint. You might notice that when you spin out external rotation, it feels a little bit more stable, a little bit more engaged. That's what we want when we're weight bearing in order to support the shoulder joint. Now, we're not doing it a ton because your hand is glued to the mat, so we can't go all the way, but there's this slight action within the shoulder joint of external rotation whenever you're weight bearing. So your plank pose, your downward facing dog, dolphin pose when you're on the elbows, you want this spinning of the bicep out. But there's a caveat to this. If you do it too much, what can start to happen is we start to lift the index finger knuckle, what we call clawing the mat. We sink weight into the wrist. So what we want to do is spin your bicep forward while continuing to anchor into that index finger knuckle. If you do those two at the same time, you'll stabilize in the shoulder and help to support the wrist as well. When you spin the bicep forward, it's going to happen in the shoulder joint. The inside of the elbow might point forward. You might have heard that cue, but it doesn't point forward for everyone. It depends on how your shoulder and your elbow joint are built, so it may or may not point forward for you. More so, think about spinning your bicep, and you can try this seated on the floor like I am and just do this rotation. Spin the bicep forward, that rotation, while powering down into your index finger knuckle. Give it a try next time you do plank or downward facing dog and just notice how it feels in your shoulders, your hands, and your wrist.